In the first episode of our series, we have Aaryan with us, who visited France, Belgium, and the Netherlands. He's here to tell us all the insider details such as cost, flights, and of course some useful travel hacks. So let us dive in. So what made you choose these countries and cities for your trip?
So my initial itinerary actually had like France, Switzerland, Italy, and cities like that. I realized that there was too much of hop on, hop off. So I decided to go ahead with a belt that I can cover maybe in one trip. So that is when I decided let's do France, Belgium, and Netherlands, because the eventual plan is to go to Europe again and again. That's how you can actually cover it.
Okay, that's great. How did you plan your flight tickets? Any tips for getting cheaper flight tickets?
So mine was a last minute planned trip. So I went to make my trip searching for the best flights I could get. Luckily, I stumbled across a Black Friday sale that Niyo was running, and I eventually got much better rates on Niyo. So I booked my flights from there.
Oh, that's amazing. I'll keep a check of it the next time. And how was your experience while applying for a Schengen visa? Do you have any tips for any first-time travelers?
Honestly, it's very frightening applying for a visa, especially for the first time.
Yeah.
In my experience, I had to actually search through the internet. What all documents do I require? Where do I have to go to even get my visa, right? So once I had those documents, it was quite straightforward. I had just to go to the appointment center, give my documents, and the visa was being processed. But I really wish that someone was there to actually guide me through the process. Ki what all documents are required, what type of questions might be asked. Right? So yeah, I wish something was there.
Oh, that's so true. I definitely agree on that. And where did you stay in Paris or Brussels? Were you staying in hostels or Airbnbs?
Yeah, so the first thing that came to mind was just to book direct hotels. The thing that worked out for me was I planned my trip beforehand and had all my hotels ready when I reached there. The main criteria was actually on cities, like the amount of time I'm spending in a city. For example, in Brussels, I was there only for one day. So it only made sense for me to book somewhere near the train station, right? So that's how I decided the hotels. And the thing that worked obviously was planning beforehand and having everything ready.
Okay, that is so thoughtful. And how easy was it to make bookings from India? Any challenges you faced with the payments?
There were multiple sites where I booked my hotels from. Some sites were actually working directly on my credit cards that I had, the banking credit cards that I had.
Right.
So a basic INR transaction was easy. On some sites, I actually was faced with the trouble of transacting in a foreign currency, euros in this case.
Okay.
So that's where my Niyo card actually helped me, saving me on potential currency exchange costs.
You're right. Niyo is definitely good for saving on forex charges. So what's the best way to get around these cities? Public transport or taxis? And how do you manage your travel expenses?
Yeah, public transport, always. Because that's the easiest way you can get around these cities, very accessible. And surprisingly, I was not aware of this, but my Niyo card works everywhere. So you enter the metro station, tap your card, you board the metro. You leave the metro station, tap your card, you exit the station. That's how simple it is.
That's great. You can literally use your Niyo card for all modes of transport. So what was the best food you tried in these countries? Are there any good Indian food recommendations?
Croissants in Paris, fries in Amsterdam, and waffles in Belgium. That was the main good food items that I had. For Indian options, well, there were some Indian options, but I did not prefer them because obviously it's not that authentic.
Yeah.
It's more expensive than the local cuisine.
Yeah.
And when you're visiting a country, why not explore something new?
Okay, so moving on to the next question. Was card payment accepted all over or you needed cash at some places?
Yeah, so the Niyo card worked like a charm everywhere. I did not have to worry about my payments while on the trip. But it is always recommended to keep some cash handy because you never know. Like some local vendors, they do prefer some cash. In places like Sakrakor, I had to use cash.
Oh.
But other than that, I think the Niyo card is the only thing you need.
So what are some tips you'd give to every first-time traveler to Europe?
So while on the trip, I realized that greeting people goes a long way, especially in Paris, because people there are talkative, something that you don't get in India a lot. They get very happy when you talk to them in the local language.
Okay.
So whenever I went to a local cafe or a restaurant, I normally walked in, no one would actually listen to me. I started talking like a true Parisian and started greeting people with phrases like bonjour.
Yeah.
they would instantly turn their heads and be very happy about it.
So would you recommend using a Niyo card for any international travel, and why?
यार एक बार को passport भूल जाता चलता, but without the Neo card, I don't think it's possible and even practical.
So let's do a fun segment now. It's called Rapid Fire. I'll be asking you questions and you have to reply very instantly, no pauses, nothing.
Sounds fun.
Okay. Favorite city in Europe?
Rules.
Best dish you tried?
Fries in Amsterdam.
Weirdest thing you ate?
Stroop office.
Funniest language you ate?
I got on the wrong exit of a metro station.
Most Insta-worthy spot?
There are actually two. One Sakakor, the second is the Seven Bridges in Amsterdam.
One thing you forgot to pack?
Aloo bhuji.
Okay. Souvenir you bought but regret?
एक fridge magnet, which was not actually a fridge magnet, जो यहाँ के पता था.
Okay. Any funny incident that you'll remember or cherish forever?
Yeah, so I gave a stranger the Polaroid camera जो होता है, वो दिया मैंने, and खुद की फोटो लेके चला गया.
First European country you visited?
France.
Last European country you visited?
Belgium.
Most overrated destination?
Paris.
Okay. One place you'd visit again?
France, the south side of France.
Best coffee experience in Europe?
So there was an old lady in front of my hotel in Paris. The best coffee I have ever had.
One European city you could live in?
Amsterdam.
What are next European destinations you would want to travel?
French Riviera, Italy and Zurich.
So that was it for our episode 1 of Travel Diaries. Stay tuned for more such episodes, and thank you for joining us today. It was great having you here.
Thank you for having me.